What's up guys, today we're going to be going over a Starfire protocol combo that works a lot like old auto-loading on things like Lunafaction and Barricade, and this combo will allow us to shoot pretty much every single demo weapon in the game without ever having to reload it, and it's going to be a lot like some of the hunter combos that you can pull off, which you can auto-reload most weapons 4 or 5 times without actually having to reload yourself. But this combo is going to be a lot better and pretty much allow you to do as many auto-reloads as you want. So as we mentioned, starting off with Starfire protocol, fusion grenades now have an additional charge and recharge from empowered weapon damage. Fusion grenade kills also grant rift energy. So obviously we're going to be pairing this with Middle Tree Dawn Blade for Well of Radiance, then also all the different ways to empower our teammates, including things like empowering rift. So this exotic does 2 things. The first one, it'll give you 2 fusion grenade charges, and the second one is when you're in empowering rift or Well of Radiance, you will get your fusion grenade back on weapon damage. So that means you can pretty much have infinite fusion grenades. And the idea behind this is pair it with a demolitionist weapon, which means when you throw the grenades, it will auto reload the weapon for you. So usually how this combo would work is you place down a rift or well, then you go ahead and shoot at the enemy and use the grenades to reload. But as you see, we can only do that twice. But this is where the combo comes into play. If we use Wither Horde or Anarchy, both will have a dot damage, so the damage will tick over time, and every single time it does that tick rate, it will also help proc the Starfire perk and help get your grenade back even quicker, which means we should be able to pull off that combo a lot more efficiently. Another thing you can do with the Wither Horde combo is shoot one at the ground then stick the enemy, and these are 2 separate tick rates, which means you'll be getting your grenade back even that much quicker. So that is a cool thing you can do. And for boss damage, you'd go back and forth, one on the ground, one at the target, one at the ground, and back and forth. And as I mentioned, you can also do this with Anarchy, so that will increase the amount of weapons we can pull this combo off with. So now with the Wither Horde combo, we can now shoot off all of our rocket shots pretty much forever and always have our grenade. And these 2 enemies right here actually die so quick that it's kind of hard to show off the full combo. So what I did instead was go to Ribbon, and now as you see on Ribbon, if I go ahead and put my first Wither Horde on the ground, then the second one sticking Ribbon, I can then pretty much do all 8 of my rockets with double reserves and never have to actually manually reload. And as you see, every 3rd rocket I re-stick Ribbon with Wither Horde. But as you see towards the end, I have to wait a few seconds for my last 2 grenades, which isn't ideal. But this is where Benevolent Dawn comes into play, which is another perk on Middle Tree Dawn Blade. If we heal or empower one of our teammates, we get Benevolent Dawn, which will give us all of our abilities back even quicker, which will help us a little bit with that downtime on the grenade that we were having solo. And while we're on the topic of teammates, Starfire Protocol does not only work in your well or your empowering rift, it works in anyone's well or empowering rift. It just needs empowered weapon damage of any sort, it doesn't matter how it happens. So that's pretty good for team fights. You only need 1 person drop a well. As long as you all have the chest piece on, you're all good to go. So now on Ribbon with a teammate in my well to prep Benevolent Dawn, I can very easily do this combo forever and have my grenade right when I need it and have no downtime ever. As you see, I only had to restick Ribbon once with Wither Horde this time and not every 3rd shot. And as you see, very easily got off all 8 rockets before Ribbon even went immune. So now we're trying this with something like Truth Teller with Demolitionist on it, which is also a single shot weapon. As you can see, even with this, I can shoot off 10 shots in one Ribbon phase without having to reload ever, which is kind of crazy of how quick you're actually getting your fusion grenade with this combo. You're throwing 9 of them in one single Ribbon damage phase, which is kind of crazy. So if you can pull off this entire combo with things like a grenade launcher or also a rocket launcher, which are both 1 magazine weapons, then you can pretty much pull off this combo with any demo weapon in the entire game. For example, a regular grenade launcher with a 5 mag, that'll be very easy. You'll definitely have your grenade in time. You can also do a sniper, a shotgun, even a fusion rifle. So let's talk about a few of those different combos and look at their DPS and total damage output. So first with Wither Horde, the DPS per shot is roughly 7,000. And if you overlap the tick rate of on the ground and also sticking to enemies, it's going to be roughly 14,000. Then if an enemy's already taken damage from Wither Horde, if you stick them again, it will hit 11,000 on Greg, which is going to be a pretty good chunk of damage when you re-stick the enemy. Also, when you look at the damage of the fusion grenades, it's going to hit roughly 20,567, which is quite a bit of damage. It's going to be actually more damage than this grenade launcher I'm going to show off right here, the Truth Teller. First one I want to look at, obviously we're going to need Demolitionist on it. It's going to hit for roughly a little bit over 18,000 once you add the 2 numbers together. Now looking at this combo on Ribbon and looking at how long it took to do the entire combo, during this combo, we're going to shoot 10 Truth Teller shots, we're going to throw 9 fusion grenades, and we're also going to re-stick Ribbon twice and also the base one before she spawns in. And looking at how long that takes first, it's going to take roughly 16.884 seconds. During that, we're going to be doing over 500,000 total damage, which means 30,388 DPS, which is actually pretty good given how low of damage these shields do. And the next combo I want to look at is with the Heretic, which is going to be a cluster and demo rocket launcher. But I wouldn't recommend grinding for this one because it's going to be sunset after the season. Instead, what you can farm for this season is the Huskal. I forgot to look up how to pronounce it. But you can farm this from the dungeon and it can come with field prep and also demolitionist. It doesn't have cluster and demo like the previous one, but it's pretty good. Clusters aren't really necessary to make or break for rockets anymore, but with the Heretic on Greg, we're going to be hitting roughly 44,532 per rocket depending on the cluster RNG, which is only roughly 3,000 or 4,000. So as I mentioned, clusters aren't really make or break for rockets anymore. But looking at how long that combo took on Riven, we did 8 rockets, 7 grenades, and also 2 Wither Horde. So looking at how long that takes, it's going to take quite a while. 12.029 seconds. And during that entire combo, we did roughly 600,000 total damage, which results in just under 50,000 DPS. So that's actually really good DPS and sustained damage output. I mean, obviously, since we're going to be in well radiance for pretty much all these different combos, we can also increase our damage by 25%, which means the rocket combo will go up to 58,000. Then also most team fights, someone will have a debuff, which will take it to 75,000. So those DPS numbers are actually really good for your entire reserves. Usually by the time you get through your entire reserves, your DPS falls off a lot, but 50,000 is still pretty good. Since this combo is so good for total damage output and also DPS, I went ahead and made a cool build with it. And one thing I want to note before we go into the build is if you use your empowered melee, it also procs the Starfire perk as you expect. So going off that, we're going to be using a Grave Robber and Demolitionist Ikelos SMG. We're also going to be using anti-barrier rounds on it. That way we can use Breach Resonator on our Starfire protocol, which will help us get our grenade and our melee back even quicker. Then looking at the first mods on our bond, we'll be using Global Reach because we're using Ikelos SMG to create more mine cells. We also have Solar Plexus because we're going to be using our Solar Melee a lot, and this will give us 50% more damage on that. And finally, we have Ashes to Assets because we're going to be using a lot of our grenades, and that'll help us get our super based on getting kills with our grenades. Moving on to the next mod will be Swift Charge, which means every 3 or 4 kills with our Ikelos SMG will become charged with light. Then with that stack of charged with light, we'll be using Heavy Handed, which is while you're charged with light, using your charged melee will give back 50% of the charge instantly. Then the final set of mods we'll be using will be Enhanced Momentum Transfer, which is where causing damage with grenade greatly reduces your melee cooldown, which will be yet another way to get our melee back even quicker. Then finally, I have Hive Armaments. This is kind of like a free mod slot, so use whatever you want. But overall, the idea behind this build is you're going to be using your charged melee to become empowered, which means you'll be getting your grenade back from empowered weapon damage. Then as you do that, you'll become charged with light by getting kills with the Ikelos SMG, also create war mine cells because of Global Reach. Then on top of that, with Grave Robber and Demo on the Ikelos, you'll never have to reload. You'll be getting your grenade back very quickly, also getting your melee back very quickly because of Breach Resonator, then also Heavy Handed. So pretty much the flow of the build is you melee, you get infinite grenades, then as you do that, you get your melee back, then you pretty much rinse and repeat forever. And also this build pretty much turns you into a walking Empowering Rift for your entire team, because of the fact that every single time you use your melee, you'll empower not only yourself, but also your teammates nearby. So yeah, this build is actually pretty cool. And one tip I have for it is you have a lot of grenades, and don't forget that you can use them for healing also. So if you're ever in trouble, you can also use your grenades as the healing nade, and not only use them for damage and killing things. Then of course, once you get up to a boss fight, you have the full combo with your Well and your Rocket Launcher and Wither Horde, where you can shoot off the entire reserves without ever having to reload. So overall, this build actually came together pretty nicely. It's really good for ad clear, very helpful for your entire team by empowering them, then also being able to heal them with your healing grenades constantly. And if you're really crazy, you could turn this into a pretty good champion build. You already have anti-barrier rounds on your SMG. Then you could also use the artifact mod where solar melees stop unstoppable champions. So you have 2 of the 3 right there, and pretty much you would need a teammate to do the third one, but you'd have 2 of the 3 for yourself, so that'd be pretty good for champions, depending if you're brave enough to go melee unstoppable ogre. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for the video. This build is actually pretty strong and actually really fun to use, so let me know what you think about that and this combo in general. Anyways, thanks for watching, catch you guys next time.